Deemed, rehabilitated, and real entertaining. This is the Carl Jackson Podcast.
Welcome to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. This is your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Well, I've got some, I would say surprising news for you, but I don't think it's going to be surprising. The deep state or the administrative state has been spying on you. That's right. According to AM Greatness, Eric Lindrum there has reported intelligence agencies are buying sensitive and intimate data of American citizens. You don't have to be a criminal for them to get this data. We're going to talk about that. Also, the former head of the FBI J6 pipe bomb investigation has come out and said he doesn't want any conspiracy theories concerning the pipe bomber. They just have no idea where the pipe bomber is. They didn't question anyone in regards to the pipe bombing. Absolutely weird. So we'll revisit that story and get into some of the new details of that particular story. Stay tuned for some quick program messaging, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Today's show is brought to you in part by MyPillow.com. Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow, has a great deal exclusive to my listeners. You can buy one, get one absolutely free. That is buy one, get one free of the new MyPillow 2.0. It comes with the same patented adjustable feel as the original MyPillow, but it has a outer layer that now has a temperature regulating thread, making it softer, smoother, and cooler. All right, so you get a better night's rest if you could imagine that. All right, so the number to call them, 800-858-02. Is that the number, Gabe? 800-858-0263, I believe is the number. Anyway, go to MyPillow.com. We may have to edit that part out. Go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener square at the top of the page and enter my name, Carl. That is mypillow.com. Go to the radio listener square at the top of the page and enter my name, Carl. And yeah, the number to call in, 800-858-0263, 800-858-0263. Get your two MyPillows. Buy one, get one free. Softer, smoother, cooler. You'll absolutely love it. American jobs, American manufacturing, right? And a better night's rest. MyPillow.com. All right, so guys, there's several things that are happening today. Oh man, and the heat is finally starting to come down on Joe Biden. The guy is corrupt as all get out. More and more people realize that he's corrupt as all get out. Obviously, with the latest news coming out, or the alleged bribery scheme that I believe is real. And that is the current president, Joe Biden literally took a $5 million bribery scheme from the Ukrainian government, or from the president of Burisma at the time, the energy company in Ukraine. That guy, by the way, can't be found. Listen, guys, we are in the fight for the long run. We are in this fight together. I listened to the first hour of Dan Bongino's show yesterday. There's already audio out there that exists with Joe Biden talking to the president of Burisma. I mean, the guy was working up a bribery scheme. There's already audio out there. I didn't know it existed. Dan Bongino had it. I don't even know where he got it from. There's people on the Hill asking for 17 pieces of audio, 15 with Hunter Biden and the Burisma CEO, president, owner, whatever it may be, and 2 with Joe Biden. There's already 2 out there. That show was absolutely damning. So I know this is kind of weird. We don't typically do this, but I want to give credit where credit is due. Dan Bongino had a fabulous show yesterday. I'm going to tell you guys to go and find that and check it out. That would have been dated June 14th. 2023. That first hour was a freaking bombshell. And I want to end the deep state. This is why I'm talking about what we'll be talking about today. I do want to bring you some quick news. The EU makes a major push to regulate AI. I think that needs to be done out here. Both Trump and DeSantis used AI in political ads against one another. I don't think that should be done. I was thinking, I don't think that should be done. I don't think we should go that route. I do think that is dangerous. I think AI is dangerous because it's going to make people dumber, for one. Obviously, it's going to be we're going to lose jobs as a result of it. And as technology advances, we may not be able to help that to some extent. But I'm concerned about other ramifications of AI. I really believe that it's going to dumb down society. I do believe there's going to be ethics codes according to the left, since they control, for the most part, AI. This thing is getting out of control. And I think we have to be concerned about it for that. Now, ultimately, I think God is in charge. We'll be okay. But I think we need to do what the EU is doing. Hat tip this from the Washington Post. The EU lawmakers on Wednesday took a key step toward passing a landmark artificial intelligence bill, putting Brussels on a collision course with American tech giants that are funneling billions of dollars. It's America, right? Into the burgeoning technology. The European Parliament overwhelmingly approved the EU AI Act, a sweeping package that aims to protect consumers from potentially dangerous applications of AI, according to the column. Reacting to concerns that recent advances in technology could potentially be used for nefarious ends, ushering in surveillance. We'll get into that shortly. Algorithmically, couldn't get that out, driven discrimination and prolific misinformation that could upend democracy. It would ban tools that European lawmakers deem unacceptable, such as systems allowing law enforcement to predict criminal behavior. Do you remember that movie with Tom Cruise back in the day? Minority Report. You remember that movie, Gabe? Where they were predicting criminal behavior? That's what AI is going to do. I remember watching that movie and back in the day, oh my God, I don't think they could ever do that. Well, I was wrong. They're here. It's scary as all get out. All right. So it would also introduce new limits on technology simply deemed quote unquote high risk, like tools that could sway voters to influence elections, or recommendation algorithms, which suggest that posts, photos, and videos that people see on social networks. So it could be extremely, extremely dangerous. All right. Also, Citigroup is cutting 5,000 jobs. We knew that was coming. I don't know how much of a news story that may be. Here's one. Former Marine Daniel Penny indicted by Manhattan grand jury. I think this ties into the topic of today. It may not seem like it, but I believe there is a police state that is, I believe it's here. They're doing all of the small things to make us feel powerless. Right now, Daniel Penny, for those of you who may not remember, he's a young 24-year-old man that helped save lives on a New York City subway train. He happens to be white. Obviously, I hate when people report it that way, but the left wants a narrative. The mainstream media wants a narrative that all these white men are out killing black people. Daniel Penny was literally protecting some women. One of the women came out. I read about this. I talked about it on the podcast that happened to be black. There was a black man helping him as well. But this guy, Jordan Neely, threatened to kill people. He said he wasn't worried about going to jail, so on, etc. And so this guy, Daniel Penny, has now been indicted. Why? For self-defense. They're trying to outlaw self-defense. So if a nut job in a blue city, in a Democrat-run city, comes up to you and tries to hurt you or hurt someone near you and threaten your life, you can't do anything about it. You better sit there, take the beating, or just go ahead and die. It's insane, but this is where we're at. So former Marine Daniel Penny has been, and that once a Marine, always a Marine, as they say. The majority of Americans, on another story, believe that Biden received bribery payment to influence policy, while VP, over half of Americans, this according to the Daily Caller, believe that the Biden family has accepted payments from foreign nationals in order to influence politics in Washington, D.C. It almost sounds like, remember how the left said Trump was accepting, Putin, Russian interference, or Trump was Putin's puppet. Turns out that Biden is, I guess, the puppet for several countries, including Ukraine. It's absolutely amazing. All right. And this guy tends to be getting away with it, but perhaps not for long. If the left wants to throw him under the bus, they better do it relatively quickly, because this election cycle is rolling. They're going to have to keep the old man if they don't get rid of him quickly. All right. But this, according to a new poll from the Convention of States Action and the Trafalgar Group, President Joe Biden and his son Hunter, or President Joe Biden's son Hunter, is currently the subject of the House Oversight Committee investigation, which is looking into his conduct and business transactions. As we all know, the Trafalgar Group, a new poll reveals majority 53.3% of Americans believe the Biden family received payments from foreign nationals to influence policy in D.C. Honestly, the Republicans should be pounding this every single day. We should see Kevin McCarthy on the news every single day, giving a press conference, not just on friendly places, but wherever they can go. They should be pounding this. We are being held hostage by a corrupt president, a corrupt presidency, a corrupt administration. The ESG deems tobacco company more ethical than Tesla. Why would that be? I suspect because the tobacco company, yes, according to them, according to Hot Air, the tobacco has gone woke. Meanwhile, I think that a lot of people affiliated with ESG hate Elon Musk simply because he opened up Twitter. All right. Another story that I just want to share. Donald Trump raises $7 million after the indictment proceedings during the fundraiser. And I mean, people are just fed up, sick and tired of fed up of what's happening. We believe with the police state, it's obviously intentional. I'm not saying that Donald Trump didn't do anything wrong or mishandled documentations in any way, or he could have done it better. Yeah, sure. But so could Hillary. Didn't have to destroy hers, right? Former Vice President Pence had no business having classified information at his home. Neither did Joe Biden as senator and VP. And now we're finding out more about the Joe Biden being corrupt. So I say, screw the whole process. Quite frankly, I don't even care to keep hearing. I'm just being honest. I'm so over the Trump stuff when it comes to this indictment. And I understand that people believe that we've crossed the Rubicon. I believe that we started crossing that Rubicon a long time ago. And I believe it started with Obamacare, and the feckless Republicans hardly did anything about it. So everything that we're seeing today, this burgeoning police state, is just it's just inevitable. This is the route that they were going to take. And what is happening is huge. They are setting precedent. I'm not minimizing it whatsoever, but understand the police state is already here. The police state is already here. That's all you need to know. That's why I don't care what the left says about Donald Trump. I don't care how mad they get over this particular topic. It does not matter. The rules apply. See, we're supposed to live by some rules that they impose, you know, when you're a Republican conservative or whatever, but they could break whatever law they want and nothing happens. It's not because there's a two-tier justice system. People keep saying that, and it's not a two-tier justice system. If there's a two-tier justice system, that means that there is no justice, right? Because somebody receives favoritism, which isn't justice at all. And people on the left receive favoritism. We don't. That's not a justice system. That is just sheer corruptness. I've heard people explain it as a hierarchy. Okay, that works. Now, let's get to the topic at hand. This is, guys, I'm here to tell you that the police state exists. I'm here to tell you that the police state is already here. There's a report that intelligence agencies are buying sensitive and intimate data of American citizens. Before I get to that, I want you, Gabe, if you would, to go ahead and roll this video. This is on January 5th, 2021, the day before J6, a quote-unquote unknown individual placed 2 pipe bombs, right, in the Capitol Hill neighborhood of Washington, D.C. I'm going to go through this story again. There's some new information coming out about this story that I want you guys to be fully aware of and up to speed on. I'm telling you, the deep state is here. Let me say this, because I know some Trumpsters and I know some DeSantisers. I just made that word up. Did you like that, Gabe? You're probably going to get mad. Listen, Trump isn't your savior. Ron DeSantis isn't your savior. Vivek Ramaswamy isn't your savior. Whomever, Larry Elder, whomever else, Tim Scott, nobody's your savior. There's only one savior, and that is Jesus Christ. All right, so I'm sick and tired of people saying that there's a savior. One man can say that is absolutely wrong. That is absolutely unbiblical. And honestly, it's unconstitutional. It's we the people, we the people, we the people, we the people. And my fear is, okay, so Trump gets in for 4 years, and then after 4 years, we don't know what the hell to do. I mean, this is insane to me. You got to fight for your freedoms right now. You've got congressmen in office right now. Let your voice be heard right now. We don't have to wait for 2024. This is driving me bat crap insane because this is my team, right? Conservatives and Republicans. And yes, I do believe that we need to win 2024. I do believe that it's crucial, but that doesn't mean we sit on our arses right now and wait for a savior. That is dumb. I'm sorry. That is dumb. And there are so many conservatives that are arguing that point. It is driving me absolutely nuts. It totally negates we the people, the power of the people. Use your phone, use your protest. Don't go in blue cities. Don't go in blue areas. All right. But use that. We have power. We've been doing it with Bud Light. We've been doing it with these other companies. We've been making them feel the pain. Find ways to be we the people, because I'm telling you, this police state, you're not going to clean it up in 4 years. I'm not convinced you're going to clean it up in 8 years. I think you need at least a generation. I think we need to turn America back to a constitutional America, not a Democrat America, Republican, a constitutional America. We've got to restore the Constitution. That is going to take that is going to take some work. That is going to take some work. It's really, I'm telling you, you have to get your fight on. Yes, I'd like to see Trump in 2024 or DeSantis. I don't mind either, frankly. But let's stop waiting. Let's stop pretending like they're going to be a savior. Let's stop pretending that we're going to blow away everybody else and win the Senate and the House. Guys, we're going to have to work our butts off just to win in 2024. All right. We've got an advantage in the Senate, but we've got to make sure that we get good senators. Man, we got plenty of fights ahead of us. Now, having said all that, I didn't mean to go on that rant for that long, but sometimes you just got to say what you got to say. So this is the video of January 5. This is the pipe bomber. I want you to understand that the FBI has not been able to find this pipe bomber. I want to tell you about the agencies that are surveilling you without a warrant. We'll get into that, but I want to go back to this video. I want you to watch this. Guys, please subscribe to the podcast. Everywhere you go to get your podcast, we're on Apple, Google, Spotify. I need you to go to YouTube right now. I need you to go to YouTube. I need you to subscribe. I need you to rate, and I need you to review this podcast because that's the only way we're going to get traction. I'm just being real with you. The same is true for Rumble. If you prefer Rumble, I love Rumble. That is the free speech platform, all right? So it's not censoring us one iota. So go to rumble.com, The Carl Jackson Show on Rumble. All things social media at The Carl Jackson Show, at The Carl Jackson Show. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, True Social, Getter. Follow me there. Now, without any further ado, Gabe, let's go ahead and play this video, por favor. And then I want to get into what's happening, the latest on this J6 pipe bomber case that's going to blow your freaking mind, and also these intelligence agencies that are already spying on you. Let's roll the tape, please, Gabe. So devices were placed between 7:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. This is the pipe bomber. Broad daylight. Is that the pipe bomber using a cell phone? That walk is pretty distinctive, wouldn't you say? Not sure. Is the pipe bomber calling an Uber, putting on glasses? What's going on here? Dog walks by the pipe bomber. Pipe bomber gets out the way. Covers, I'm assuming, his face. $7.52. Here's the pipe bomber. This is the FBI, the world's premier law enforcement agency. It's a lot of video to work with. Little grainy, right? Yeah. There's a story behind that. Okay, here's a pipe bomber. Interesting. $814 Capitol Hill Club. Here's the pipe bomber. There's video everywhere. Ooh, looks like a little stretch. Just put in work. 1-800 call FBI. Yeah, Gabe. Okay, so my wife said the same thing. It's so weird. Could be a man. I even said he or she. I tweeted on this earlier. He or she. Who knows? At first, I was like, no way. And then the more I looked, I was like, that could be a lady. Kind of maybe has something puffed up in her shirt or something. Who knows? Anyway, okay. So I'm going to give you the latest on that. But first, let me talk to you about this. Hat tip AM greatness. This from Eric Lindrum. A recently declassified report alleges that multiple U.S. intelligence agencies have been actively, quote, flouting the law, close quote, by gathering massive collections of sensitive and intimate, quote unquote, data on American citizens. Not on any particular American citizen, on American citizens. Period. This, according to the New York Post, the claims were made in a report to Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, which was only recently declassified and is now being amplified by some watchdog groups. So the report details a loophole that has allowed intelligence agencies, including the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and the NSA, to buy large troves of cell phone data for tracking purposes without needing a warrant. You haven't committed any crime. You haven't done anything wrong, but the FBI is collecting your data. Now, if the information was paid for, the report notes, according to this now declassified report, then it is technically considered publicly available, quote unquote. The government only needs to ask for a warrant if they are asking to access a cell phone's location, and thus would raise Fourth Amendment concerns necessitating a job's approval. Really? Without evidence of a crime? The federal government, the FBI that you and I pay for, can do this without a warrant? According to Sean Victor, he's a policy attorney at the nonprofit Demand Progress. Here's what he has to say. This report reveals what we feared most. Intelligence agencies are flouting the law and buying information about Americans that Congress and the Supreme Court have made clear the government should not have, close quote. The report, compiled by a group of advisors that work for the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, notes that despite being technically considered public available information, quote unquote, the data in question represents a significant public safety threat. The data that can be purchased, the report says, is, quote, more revealing, available on more people, less possible to avoid, and less well understood. I'm sorry, my phone is buzzing here. And less well understood than was previously thought. Such batches of data are usually sold after having been anonymized, with crucial details removed, so that the only information about a person is their gender, their age, and their location. However, the ODNI report states that once this information is acquired, it is rather easy for the government to, quote, to de-anonymize and identify individuals, close quote. The report also issued a chilling warning, noting that if the same information purchased by the government were to wind up in the wrong hands, it could be used to facilitate blackmail, stalking, harassment, and public shaming, quote unquote. ESG, 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 ESG. Now, here's the latest. Here's the latest on this pipe bomb stuff. All right, now, you guys may have heard there was apparently... And I spoke about this guy, Kyle Seraphin did the other day. The a former senior FBI official, Stephen Dan Antuano, I believe is how you pronounce his name. So anyway, he voluntarily hat tipped to Revolver News. Revolver News has been following this J6 story better than the J6 pipe bombing story. I'm sorry, better than anyone else. When J6, I go Julie Kelly. But when it comes to this pipe bombing stuff, I mean, this guy Beatty at Revolver News has been amazing on this. So the former FBI official Stephen Dan Antonio voluntarily submitted himself before the Judiciary Committee and raised powerful objections to the Mar-a-Lago raid. Guys, this is a good thing. I think people are starting to say, "Oh crap, things may be turning around." That's what I'm saying. Don't wait for Trump. Don't wait for DeSantis. You can call your congressman now. Make sure these fools in Washington, D.C. feel the pressure, because the police state is already here. And eventually, they're going to be knocking at your door, at my door. It's a scary thought. I don't take that lightly. I mean, like being locked away like the J6 political prisoners without any hope for bail, knowing you did nothing wrong or something that's extremely minor that shouldn't destroy the rest of your life and your ability to earn a living. It's insane. So honestly, I feel like these presidential candidates should be raising money for these J6 protesters, the political prisoners. I feel like Trump should be doing it. I feel like any one of these guys, these political prisoners, these people should be raising money for them. All right. So anyway, because they're already experiencing what we all hope we don't have to experience. So, all right. So this guy voluntarily submits himself to the Judiciary Committee and raised powerful objections to the Mar-a-Lago raid that serves as the basis of the indictment against Trump. Right. We all believe it's a sham. At Revolver News, they reported that the most remarkable part of the story is not the objections themselves, but Stephen Dan Antuano's, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Anyway, has long been a subject of Revolver News as they've investigated this. They report it as he's the man that oversaw the Michigan, the fake Michigan kidnapping plot. You had two men that were sent to prison for quite some time. God, please pardon them. Please, Republicans win in 2024 and pardon these people. Give them a full pardon. But the FBI cooked up this Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot. Dan Antuano was in charge of that. And they got even a guy that was a drunk, these FBI informants, to coax these people into kidnapping Gretchen Whitmer. So the FBI creates the crime. You get some people. One of the guys was autistic. They got him involved, got him all psyched up. They recruited him. He wasn't out searching to do a crime. They invented a crime, and then they went to look for people to perpetrate the crime. That's what the FBI did. These are some sick freaking puppies. Don't tell me the police state isn't already here. Don't tell me I'm a conspiracy theorist. I never talked like this in the past. I never did. But the deep state is here. Administrative state, whatever you want to call it. Police state, it is here. It exists. So anyway, they entrap these people. Well, you can look at the J6 pipe bomb issue the same way. Here's what's happening. Darren Beatty, he's the I believe he's the leading editor, senior editor, founder of Revolver News, and he worked with Congressman Thomas Massey to produce questions that concern the J6 pipe bomb investigation for Stephen Dan Antuano to answer. All right, so here was a letter that was recently published by Congressman Jim Jordan that alludes to some of the results of this interrogation. So it says here on June 7, 2023, Committee on the Judiciary conducted a transcribed interview of Steve Dan Antuano, the former assistant director in charge of the Federal Bureau of Investigations, Washington field office. In that role, Mr. D. Antuano oversaw the WFO's, the Washington field office's, investigations into the events at the Capitol on J6 2021, including the placement of pipe bombs. And forgive me, because I'm going to have to read through some of this. It's pretty lengthy, but stick with me. This is going to be there's some great detail in this. So the pipe bombs that were near the headquarters of both the DNC and the RNC on January 5th, so the night before, obviously January 6th. Mr. Dan Antono's testimony provided new information. This is Jim Jordan in his letter about the FBI's investigation into the pipe bombs and reinforces our concern about the FBI's handling of the matter. All right. So the alleged pipe bomber that you saw in that video was using a cell phone. I go back to this from AM Greatness. Report: intelligence agencies buying sensitive and intimate data of American citizens. Do you guys know how they caught many other people associated with J6 or even in the vicinity? It's called geofencing. They can track people using their cell phones. As long as the cell phone isn't a fake, as long as the cell phone isn't turned off, it can be in airplane mode and they can find you. You can't tell me this person that walked all around the Capitol, they cannot find. I contend this. Now, this is my opinion. This is my opinion. But I believe it's not that they can't find the J6 pipe bomber. It's because they don't want to. Because I believe the J6 pipe bomber is one of their own. What other conclusions can you draw? I'm going to give you guys some more details. This stuff is so damning. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. He says here, it is by now common practice for law enforcement to use the geofencing technology that I just talked about to find out the identity of a person if they want to know where the person was at a particular time. In fact, again, that's how they found the J6 protesters, right? According to a journalist by the name of Marcy Willer, the FBI relied heavily on controversial geofence warrants as part of its investigation to the J6 protests, identifying 5,000 unique devices based on Google location history. The geosearch warrants are meant to locate devices within a given area based on digital services like GPS, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi signals. I mean, even if they're in airplane mode, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They can find them. In fact, the pipe bomb suspect would be a particularly easy geofencing target, according to Revolver, because the suspect was alone in a specific known area at a specific known time. So this makes it really easy for the pipe bomber to be found. According to Jim Jordan's letter, Congressman Thomas Massie asked D'Antuono whether they attempted to identify the pipe bomber via the geofencing. Did you just hear me? According to Jim Jordan's letter, listen to this. Congressman Thomas Massie asked D'Antuono whether they attempted to identify the pipe bomber via geofencing. And they received the following answer that's shocking. Well, the data was corrupted. So they can find 5,000 J6 protesters that they want to jail, right? Or go after. They can't find this one. Now, those 5,000, if they were causing a ruckus, mingling, and all this kind, they can find them pretty easily, right? They may not have their faces or any of that stuff. But this one person sitting in distinct spots at distinctive times, they can't find for some reason. That is amazing. For some reason, that data was jacked up. Here's what Dan Antono said. I think this is straight CYA because things are starting to be revealed. See, Biden is corrupt. That's starting to be unveiled. More people are starting to realize how corrupt Joe Biden is. And I think that they realize people are starting to wake up to the FBI now. So he's like, all right, let me volunteer. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be a part of this. So here's Dan Antono's answer. So there's a lot of phone data that came in. Yes, I've seen the same video. I've watched the same video. We put out the same video. It looks like a phone. Was it a real phone? Not a real phone? Was it a ruse? Was it I picked up my phone several times at meetings going on, and I got to take this call and walk out, right? The phone's not on, right? So was the person just sitting there trying to pretend like they're on a bench taking a phone call? We don't know until we find the person, right? And ask them those questions. Now, we did a complete geofence, he said. We have complete data. Not complete, he goes back and said, because, and I'm quoting him now, because there's some data that was corrupted by one of the providers, not purposely by them, right? It just unusual circumstance that we have corrupt data from one of the providers. I'm not sure. I can't remember right now which one, but for that day, which is awful because we don't have that information to search. So it could have been that provider. Yeah. With our luck, he says, with this investigation, it probably was, right? So maybe if we did have that data wasn't corrupted and it wasn't purposely corrupted. I don't want any conspiracy theories, right? Yeah, he doesn't want any conspiracy theories. But the FBI, the world's leading premier law enforcement agency, cannot find this dude or female that was all over the place. To my knowledge, it wasn't corrupted, but that could have been good information that we don't have, right? So that is painful for us not to have that. So we looked at everything. Mr. D'Antuono was also asked whether the pipe bombs had live explosives or whether they were decoys. He acknowledged that despite reports that the bombs were viable, in his estimation, they were not set to go off, as a kitchen timer attached to the devices could not have detonated them. You know why? Because the thing was only set for, an hour on January 5th? So it means they would have had to have gone off between, 9 and 10 p.m. on the 5th? This is wow, this is unbelievable. The time had already lapsed between the placement and the discovery. Massey's line of questioning, Thomas Massey, and Dan Antuono's concession reflect the critical conclusions presented in Revolver News' bombshell analysis of the pipe bomb case. The mechanical timer on the pipe bombs, listen to this, had a maximum time of only 1 hour. All right, I just mentioned that. That means that given the pipe bomber planted the bombs around 8 of the evening of the 5th, the latest the pipe bombs could have gone off would be between 9 and 10 p.m. on the 5th. Given the placement of the bombs, this would have been a complete dud, and it's not clear why a pipe bomber would plant them so far in advance of J6 if the idea was to cause chaos on J6. Here's the alternative theory. The implausibility that the pipe bombs were intended to go off at all gave rise to an alternative theory that was espoused by the former Capitol Police Chief, a guy by the name of Stephen Sound, that said the pipe bombs were intended to be a diversion and not to go off. So the pipe bombs were a diversion so that J6 protesters could attack the Capitol, right? And the police officers, Capitol police officers, would be their attention would be diverted because now so many of them would be paying attention to this rather than the Capitol. So that's the diversion theory. All right. The theory gained support from the remarkable timing of the pipe bomb's discovery. According to reports, the pipe bomb found, according to, I'm sorry, I lost my place here. According to reports, the pipe bomb found by the RNC was discovered at 12:40 p.m. with an indication that it had 20 minutes left on the dial, discovered to the exact minute as to give precise impression. It was set to go off at 1 p.m., which was when the certification proceeding was to begin in Congress. So the certification process was to begin in Congress. That's perfect timing at 1 p.m. 20 minutes to go off. It just happens that somebody happened to walk by at that period of time, a lady by the name of Carlin Younger that was supposedly going to do her laundry. She walked out of the Capitol Hill building. She went to go do her laundry, came back, discovered it in the nick of time, 10 minutes left or 20 minutes left or whatever it was. Voila, the bomb doesn't go off, except it was never set to go off. That was the bomb at the RNC. This stuff is so full of crap. It's just bizarre. The discovery of the DNC bombs, the story is even more bizarre. All right. So the Carlin Younger thing, is it Carlin Younger? That was the RNC. That was the RNC pipe bomb. Yeah, Carlin Younger is her name. The bomb had been sitting conspicuously by a park bench outside the DNC for 17 hours. And for 17 hours, no one saw it. No pedestrians, no motorists, the security guard stationed 17 feet away, or even the Secret Service. Nobody saw this near the DNC, found the bomb. You know they got bomb-sniffing dogs, right? And yet, curiously, it happened to be found just moments after the RNC bomb was called in by Carlin Younger. Credible sources told Revolver News that there is video footage at the DNC bomb being found by a particular individual, but D'Antuono cannot even confirm whether that individual was ever even interviewed. Carlin Younger was never interviewed by the FBI. This person that found the bomb near the RNC facility, she was never interviewed. Never interviewed. That's pretty important information, is it not? Guys, I'm telling you right now, the deep state is already here. These people are willing to set us up. And the only protection that we have between now and then, because you don't know, I don't care what the polls say today. You know that the Democrats will lie, cheat, and steal to stay in power because they've already done it. So let's not count and bank on 2024. Let's fight for our freedom right now, wherever we can. And then let's fight for 2024 as well. I'm telling you right now, no savior is coming for you. The only savior there is Jesus Christ. Nobody else is coming for you. You're in the physical realm, you're your savior. It is we the people. Start acting like we have a constitution. We got to put the pedal to the metal. That includes me. I've been slacking on some stuff. I can't do it. It's the only way we're going to save this country. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Rumble. Don't forget to find us on all things social media at The Carl Jackson Show. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, True Social Getter. At The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find us. Don't forget our sponsor, MyPillow, Mike Lindell. The MyPillow 2.0, buy one, get one free, 800-858-0263. Mention my name or go to mypillow.com. Click on the radio listener square. Put my name there, CARL, to get your free pillow. Buy one, get one free. You'll get 2 pillows, all right, for the price of one. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in today. And until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.